Hello everyone. In the previous video, we have looked into the fermentation media part 1 where we saw carbon source, nitrogen source, vitamins, minerals and growth factors. In this video, we will look into precursors, inducers, inhibitors, chelators, buffers and antifoam agents. Moving on to precursors, some fermentation media must be supplemented with specific precursors, especially for secondary metabolite production. Now, these precursors are substances which are added before fermentation process or during the fermentation process, which will help in the production of specific compounds. For example, phenyl acetic acid is added as a side chain precursor in penicillin production. So if a side chain for the penicillin has to be produced, then phenyl acetic acid is added. So penicillin G is produced by the addition of phenyl acetic acid. So G penicillin is produced by the addition of phenyl acetic acid. If phenyl acetic acid is not added, then the side chain precursor cannot be synthesized. So D-threonine is used as a precursor of L-isoleucine. So if you have to produce L-isoleucine, then you have to add a precursor molecule that is D-threonine. D-threonine will facilitate the production of isoleucine, L-isoleucine. If you have to produce isoleucine, then D-threonine is not required. But if you have to produce L-isoleucine, then D-threonine has to be added. So like this, for specific product formation, if you need a specific product, for example, for the synthesis of a side chain or to synthesize a specific type of product, then we have to add the precursor. Moving on to inducers or elicitors. A majority of enzymes which are of industrial importance are inducible. So such enzymes which are being inducible, to induce this enzyme production, we have to use something called as inducers. So induced enzymes are synthesized only in response to the presence of an inducer in the environment. Say for example, if you have to synthesize an enzyme amylase, then the inducer that you have to use is a starch. Starch acts as an inducer for the synthesis of an enzyme amylase. If you have to synthesize pullulanase enzyme, then you have to use a inducer, that is maltose. Pectinase, then you should use pectin as an inducer. So only in the presence of these inducers and enzymes will be produced. So for enzyme production, we have to go for inducers. In plant cell culture, the production of secondary metabolites such as flavonoids and terpenoids can be triggered by using elicitors. So when we use elicitors or inducers, then secondary metabolites like flavonoids or terpenoids will be produced. So inducers are molecules which are required for production of certain compounds. Without that inducers, the product will not be formed, especially in enzyme production. Moving on to inhibitors. Inhibitors are used to redirect metabolism towards the target product and reduce formation of other metabolic intermediates. An example of an inhibitor specifically employed to redirect metabolism is sodium bisulfite, which is used in the production of glycerol by Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So inhibitors will actually it will redirect the metabolism. It will not allow the unwanted products to be formed. To avoid the unwanted product formation, we have to use inhibitors. Then we have chelators. Many media cannot be prepared or autoclaved without the formation of a visible precipitate. So during media preparation or autoclaving, a visible precipitate will be formed because of certain insoluble metal phosphates. So to eliminate such problem, we use chelators. In low concentrations, we should use chelators, wherein the usage of chelators in low concentration like EDTA or citric acid are examples of chelators. When we use these chelating agents like EDTA, citric acid and polyphosphates, these chelating agents will form complexes with the metal ions in a medium. So these chelators, when they form complexes with the metal ions in the medium, they will help the microorganism to take up the metal ions easily. So chelators will complex with the metal ions, and the chelators helps the microorganisms to take it into its system for the product formation. So the metals, if it is precipitated, then chelators will complex with it and the organisms will be able to utilize them along with the chelators easily. Then we have buffers. The control of pH is extremely important if optimal productivity is to be achieved. A compound may be added to the medium to serve specifically as a buffer or may also be used as a nutrient source. Say for example, ammonia. Ammonia is a nitrogen source which is used as a nutrient source, but it is also used to adjust the pH of the fermentation. This we saw in the previous video also. So many media that are being prepared, these media will be adjusted to pH 7 during the media preparation. But when it goes for fermentation process, there, because of the acid production or because of the alkali production by the microorganism, the pH of the media will change. So to adjust the pH of the media, we should use buffer. Buffers are agents which will maintain the pH of any media. So various compounds, various buffers are being used, like calcium carbonate buffer can be used. So like this, there are different types of buffers which can be used in the fermentation media to maintain the pH of the fermentation media, because during fermentation certain microorganism will produce alkali or it will produce acids which will change the pH of the media. So therefore buffers has to be used in the fermentation media. And then there is oxygen. So oxygen is usually used only in the aerobic process. So depending on the amount of oxygen required by the organism, it will be supplied in the form of air containing about 21% volume by volume oxygen. So pure oxygen is not very commonly used, but in the form of sterile air, the oxygen is passed into the fermenter tank. There is a device called as sparger. So the sparger is the device which is there in the fermenter, which will supply the sterile air into the fermenter. So the sterile air will provide oxygen to the microorganisms. And there are antifoam agents. In most fermentation process, foaming is a common problem. When proteins and nitrogen sources are being used in the fermentation media, due to the continuous mixing, you can see in this video, due to the continuous mixing, when proteins are being produced or when proteins are being used in the fermentation media, they cause a lot of foam. So foam is a very big problem in the industrial fermentation. The foam will lead to contamination of the fermentation process. So to avoid the contamination, we should use anti-foam agents. These anti-foam agents are used to break the foam that are produced during the fermentation process. So various anti-foam agents that are available are like plant oils, soya bean oil or sunflower oil or rapeseed oil, fish oil, mineral oil. All of the oils can be used as anti-foam agents to break the foam that is produced during fermentation. The synthetic antifoams are most commonly silicon oils, polyalcohols and alkylated glycols. These are all synthetic antifoams which are used to break the foam. So these are the various media components. And moving on to the ideal antifoam agent, then an antifoam agent should have all the following properties. They should be able to readily disperse in the media and they should have a fast action. They should act very fast and it should be active at very low concentrations. We cannot use oils in larger concentrations because they can also lead to contamination. So the antifoam agent should be active at lower concentrations as well. It should be long acting in preventing the new foam that is being formed. It should not allow the new foam to be formed. So therefore the anti-foam agent should be long active. It should not be metabolized by the microorganism. The microorganism during the fermentation process should not metabolize the anti-foam agents. Then it is of no use. Also, it should not be toxic to microorganisms or humans. If it is toxic to organisms, then it will kill the microorganism. So therefore the fermentation process will not be achieved. So it should not be toxic to the microorganism and it should be cheap and it should not cause any problem in the fermentation process. So that is all about the ideal antifoam. And by this video, we are finishing with fermentation media. Thank you all. Have a good day.